Hello and welcome to Note There's Only Trash Here podcast. Wow, it's been a while. I was trying to remember what the episode of the podcast was, and then I forgot how the intro goes. Oh god. Well,
it was 36.
It's 36, and the date today is the 29th of December 2013. Wow, I have not had that bad of a start ever. That's a new record for just awful.
I was thinking that. I was thinking you never had to redo an introduction before.
No.
Because you've just... Yeah. What's going on?
I really don't know. It's kind of... we're in this weird period where I don't really have that much to do, so I've just been kind of sitting around letting my brain rot, I suppose. So now I've just got a bit lazy.
That's fine.
But usually I'm good at that sort of stuff because, as you might know, with a Let's Play you have like the way you introduce the part and the way you end the part. So when you get to the end of a part, you always just go on autopilot, be like da 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 and da. So I have that with the podcast, but I just suppose I forgot it.
That's true. That's true. People don't mind. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. If they wanted professional, you know, a certain level of polish and dignity, they wouldn't come here.
They would have left a long time ago.
Maybe they did. That would explain a lot. Okay, so yeah, we had a week break because we had Christmas and family stuff. So, how was your Christmas?
People have been asking me this, and every time I respond, I sound like such a depressing Debbie Downer.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. The people have been waiting 2 weeks for that catchphrase. Yeah,
because all I can say is it was all right.
Sure.
I mean, it's just Christmas now. Here's the thing: we don't have any young kids in our family.
Sure.
And when they're around, it's kind of fun because it's all for them. But you know, because we're all oldish now, it's just another day of eating and watching films. So.
Yeah, like I'm in the same boat where the youngest in my family is 15, so now we opened our presents at 11:30 on Christmas Day. When I was a kid, it was 6 AM. The alarm would go off at 6, I would run down the stairs and get it done, but now it's 11:30 whenever you get up. But when I talk to other people about Christmas Day who have older families, they just say they get drunk like during the day. Yeah. And it's something I've never personally done. It's more about eating and just sitting on the sofa watching telly than getting pissed for me.
I think we're in that transitional stage of our lives. Soon it will become just about drinking at 9 AM in the morning, but not quite yet. Not quite yet.
Well, we're students. We should already be in that mood.
True, but like you say, I would focus more on the food and the sweets and chocolate more than the alcohol. Alcohol's kind of later in the day, for me, anyway.
Well, sherry by the fire.
Nah.
No?
Nah, cider, or something like that. I'm not that sophisticated.
Nice. Some blackthorn in a 2-litre bottle.
Oh no, White Lightning or something.
Oh. That's disgusting.
It is.
See, if we did a podcast during, like, a week earlier, that's what we would have had to do. Like, just, you get the White Lightning, I get the blackthorn, and then we just drink it throughout and just see how miserable...
See who dies first.
Yeah, see who just gives up. Their body just turns off.
Alright, maybe next year.
Maybe. I'll put it down. If the podcast survives, we'll get pissed.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Be interesting.
How was yours?
Mine was pretty much the same. It's like, when you're a kid, everything's really... When you do Christmas, it's like, wow, I got all this stuff, and oh my god, everyone's actually here, and there's lights up. But now that I've done 21 of these, it's like, yep, the lights are up. Oh, they showed that film on, okay. Playing charades, okay. Or charades, I don't know. Yeah, it's all just not very special anymore. That doesn't mean it's bad, it's just not an event for me.
I tell you what was a sign for me, like the most obvious sign that I'm not a kid anymore, and I don't really care about Christmas, is I didn't really ask for anything this Christmas. I didn't really get much.
Didn't ask?
I didn't ask, no. And what I really want for Christmas the most is time. It's like, that is a sign. Like, yeah, I really would like more time, really. or
Oh.
more energy, or something like that.
Well, if you said it at the right moment, then the postman guy would have shown up and you would have got the watch.
I got to watch my birthday. So
Was it someone called Bernard? Did they have it by any chance?
no,
Oh. I was just seeing if you knew what I was going for there, because...
was it a funny joke which I just ruined?
Yeah, Bernard's watch. Did you ever watch that as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he could just stop time.
See, but in that program, if he could stop time and he carried on living,
Yeah.
that means that he's actually getting older every time he does it, and that means the more he does it, the more he's going to be different to his actual age when he unstops time. Do you realise?
So you're saying that what he could do is walk into a room, sit down, stop time, and then in 30 years' time just be in that chair, and then just be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And just instantly age in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I think...
When I was young... Oh, go on.
Yeah, well, I think what messes that up is that he also needs to eat and do everything else to stay alive. So he would have to go get food, and then, he would... I guess he could figure it out with cans or something, but he would still have to go get food.
True. Yeah. When I was younger, the thing that used to creep me out about that show, maybe creep's the wrong word, but it used to worry me, because I'd be like, if I was in Bernard's situation and I kept using the watch, that would mean my birthday wouldn't actually be my birthday anymore.
What, so you wouldn't be a year older, you would be more than a year older?
Yeah, because you would be celebrating your birthday too late.
That is an odd one. I never thought of that, really.
But I'd be like, but then my birthday will be wrong, and then that would ruin everything.
So you're just worried that you're going to be dishonest on your birthday. Like your mum would be like, here you go, and it's like, actually mum, alright, you're a bit late because I can freeze time, I have that power. You take back that Mega Drive, alright?
Yeah. Because actually my birthday was like 3 hours ago. Or like if you used it a lot, like 2 days ago.
So are you saying you would keep track of the time that you paused?
Maybe.
Because if you didn't start straight away, then surely you're always going to worry about how much time you've actually spent being alive.
Look, there are many flaws with this. I was a kid, alright? I worried about these things. Bernard was very dangerous. Let's put it that way.
He was a bit reckless, I would say.
He was very reckless.
Stupid show.
What were we talking about?
Bernard's Christmas?
Watches, time, being old. That was it.
Yeah, or something depressing. It always comes back to something
Obviously.
sad.
Yeah.
Just the way we do it.
But no, I didn't get any gifts. Instead, I'm going to get something in the January sales. There you go.
Oh.
Makes more sense to me.
Anything in particular you're looking out for?
I'm nothing gaming wise. Well, actually, yeah, there is. There is actually something. I did put a game down to get, but it won't be cheaper. So I don't know why. Don't know why I've put it down for January. I want to get one of the Professor Layton games because I like the puzzles.
Oh, okay. Well, you can get one of the old DS ones. They should be like 10, 15 quid by now.
I have a couple. I just want to get a couple more. So I know there's a few now.
I think there's like 6.
Really?
I might be completely lying though. I just know there's a new one coming out, or the last one already came out on 3DS because there's 2 on 3DS, and then the new one's coming out next year, which is Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Then I think that's the last one. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, yeah, I wanted that puzzle game, and also, do you read books, Tom?
Well, you're kind of exposing me here because I have brought books, but I haven't finished a book in like 5 years. So I should have just said no, but...
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether to get a Kindle or not.
Well, my little half-brother has one. He has like was it the Fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has one of those. They seem pretty nice.
Well, I just want something to read that's easy to take around.
Well,
But then I don't know if I can get used to that, and like I like reading an actual book, so I don't know if it will transition well.
yeah, I don't know. With tablets though, aren't they all like the same? Can't they all read books? Like, what's so special about the Kindle?
They're fairly cheap. I think some of them,
Right.
and they have anti-glare.
Ooh.
Basically, all I want is an inbuilt dictionary because I don't know what half the words mean.
What? So you have the book, and then you can just tap a word, and it tells you the definition.
Yeah, that's really useful.
Does that exist?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I just thought I came up with that, but no. If it doesn't exist already.
Yeah, they have like inbuilt dictionaries so you can look up a word.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Well, I did get some games, alright? Keeping it gaming. That's what this
Good.
podcast's about. Well, the first one I got two big ones, but I also brought myself Ratchet and Clank A Crack in Time on the PS3 with my Christmas money. So now I have 3 of the Ratchet and Clank games on PS3, because eventually I kind of want to get all of them, because it would be nice to have all the Ratchet and Clank games. I think they're pretty good. But I haven't played it yet. I probably won't for a good while, but I do have it. So I think that's just as good. I think that counts.
So how many you got? 3, did you say?
Yeah.
Of how many?
Well, the
A few?
PS2 had 4, but they don't count. And then on the PS3, it's Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, A Crack in Time, which I have. And then there's Q-Force, All for One, and then the new one that just came out, Nexus. So, 6.
Oh, you're getting there then, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll get them eventually. It's just with the Nexus, it's like a short, small game. But with the Ratchet and Clank games, they're still getting really good reviews on PS3. I just haven't checked them out or kept up with them. Mostly because I didn't have a PS3 until this year. But, you know, it does seem like I really like the original ones. I should probably play the new ones if they're still just as good.
Yeah. Why'd you say you're not going to play it anytime soon?
Oh, it was like a cheap game that I just kind of throw on the pile, and I usually forget about them for a good while.
Okay.
Like, I also bought Dead Space 1, but I have no clue when I'm going to play that game.
Wait a minute, Dead Space. I think I've got a few of the Dead Space games
Ooh.
because it was in a Humble Indie bundle. Well, it was
Nice.
not indie. It was like Humble, whatever bundle.
I think it's just Humble Bundle.
Humble bundle. Yeah. Well, what made you get that?
Well, the third one's supposed to be awful. The second one I didn't like, but the first one is meant to be more survival horror than the other two, so I thought, hey,
Yeah.
I'll check out some survival horror.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
I'll play it eventually, but
Do you like scary games then?
from time to time, it's like I don't keep up with that many franchises, but I brought the Silent Hill HD collection and played through 2 and really liked it. Like, I was like, wow, this is a really awesome game. And then this year at university, me and my mates or housemates have started doing this thing where we'll buy, as in steal, certain horror games and then play them on this like big 40-inch TV in the dark and all that kind of stuff. So I've been getting a bit more into them, but it's quite funny because my mates are 10 times worse at scary games than I am. I didn't know I was such a cool badass when it came to the horror games, but everyone else usually just screams and we take it in turns, and everyone else is like, "I know, I'm not doing it," so I usually have to like take over.
So are you just like, you just casually play it and nothing really gets in your way?
Yeah, we played the Slender Man, obviously. We checked out those two, which I didn't find that scary. And then we checked out Amnesia, which had really good atmosphere, but the puzzles in those games are too, like... Yeah, you got to find these incredibly small items and then take them to a certain place, and it's not really... The puzzles get a bit too... What's the word? Just abstract, I suppose. So we kind of gave up on it. And then the last one we played was Outlast, which was really good, but we didn't play that much of it.
Oh, yeah, I watched some videos of that. That seemed quite good.
Yeah, that kind of it's pretty good. They did it right. Or there's a lot of good it's good, you know. It's a pretty good
Aren't
horror
there
game.
like big angry naked guys that run after you?
Yeah, you're in like a mental asylum, but there's also some supernatural stuff going on. So I haven't seen any naked men, but there are some crazy.
Oh, they're in there.
Oh, good. I'll look forward to
They're
that.
in there. Yeah.
Start speedrunning the game. Get to it. Check it out.
Yes, definitely.
But no, so I do like horror games. I don't know. Horror games have really like got so big in like the last 2 years. So I guess that's kind of part of the reason why I started playing them a bit more.
Do you think that's because of the whole YouTube reaction type stuff?
I would say so, yeah. I would say
I think so too.
It's that, and also because indie developers started making these games. So they're easy to get and easy to check out and play, and usually free. But also you can recreate the experience of, you know, you see someone on YouTube being like, oh, stuff, and then you're like, aha, I've got a friend who's going to jump just like that. This is going to be a hoot. So it's kind of a mix of how easy it is to do now with everyone having good laptops and indie games and seeing people actually do it.
Yeah. Although, aren't there like different types of horror games as well? Because there's ones like Amnesia and Outlast, but then there are ones like that's definitely different to say Resident Evil, isn't it?
Yes.
Like the older ones.
Well, there's ones where it's more atmosphere, and then there's ones where it's more jump out and be like boogie woogie woo. So the jump scares ones and the ones where it's instant, they're the ones that have become popular. But the ones where it's just good atmosphere and being more psychological, they're still kind of, you know, not that big.
Oh, sorry, Boogie Woogie Woo isn't Scooby Doo.
Yeah, that's scary. That's ghost stuff. They jump out like,
Alright.
woo!
Alright, fair enough.
Shaggy was scared. He was shaking.
Don't worry, Scrappy Doo will come save you.
God. Scooby-Doo. That was a bad show. I'm going to say it. I did not like Scooby-Doo when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like a mystery kind of show where there's like no mystery, and it's not funny. Like, you got that weird laughter track in the background, but it wasn't funny. And then you had like the animation was just kind of bad, and they just reused it all. And I just found it really boring. And it was like the same thing every episode as well. So I just, as a kid, just never liked it.
We once watched a German version in our German class, and that ruined it for me.
Oh no.
So I'm kind of in the same boat now, yeah. No to Scooby-Doo.
While watching that German version, could you still tell who did it though? Like before the end?
Oh yeah, it's always like the guy they first see, or like the second guy they see.
Yeah,
They're always at the beginning anyway.
Yeah, there's the obvious one that they're pushing, and then there's the one who maybe, you don't know, you kind of forget about him, and at the end, boom, it's him.
Oh no, I never saw that coming.
Did you see the Futurama episode where it has the parody of Scooby-Doo?
No?
It's one of the newer ones where they do like split it into three, and then one of the sections is them parodying Scooby-Doo. It's really good.
No, I haven't seen that one.
You gotta check it out.
Is it like proper parody? Like one's supposed to be Shaggy, one's supposed to be...
Yeah,
Velma
it's
stuff?
Bendy Boo or something like that.
Oh god.
It's like Bender just as Scooby-Doo.
Okay. I'll have to check that out, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, maybe I should actually get into the big games that I got, rather than talking about Ratchet and Clank and Scooby-Doo. I got the big 2 Nintendo games that came out this holiday season, and that was Super Mario 3D World and A Link Between Worlds. And I have to say, they're both bloody brilliant. Really. They're both just really good games. I really like Nintendo games, and once again, they've done it again. They're just really awesome to play. Although it's quite weird with Super Mario 3D World. I haven't finished it yet, but I plan on reviewing it. And when I play the game, it's like, this is awesome. I love this game. It's so much fun. It's charming. The controls are great. It's awesome to play. And then when I started writing the review, it's like, all of the stuff I'm saying is negative. Like, there's a lot of negative stuff to do with this game. And it was a similar thing with New Super Mario Bros. U, where with the new Mario games, to play, they're really fun. Like, they're really solid platforming games. But when you take a step back and look at them, it's like, that's kind of a bit generic and samey. Because I'm a kid who loved Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine. So to me, these new Mario games are a bit bland. But they're still awesome to play, so it's kind of a weird mixed bag when it comes to Super Mario 3D World for me. But either way, it's... Super Mario 3D World is the highest rated exclusive on the next gen system, so you know, I guess people are pretty gutted they don't have a Wii U. Yeah.
See, now I would like to hear, like, side by side, you just saying that, and then I want to hear what you said, like, months ago. When you first
I don't recall what's going on. I don't know what you're talking about.
To be fair, it was before the game came out, but I remember kind of like completely different.
Nah, that doesn't sound right. I don't know.
Really?
Just making up lies. This just falsehoods right
Must
here.
just be my poor memory.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Although I did recently go back and check out one of the older ones, and it was the E3 one for Nintendo. And yeah, you're right. I was so negative about Super Mario 3D World. And all my complaints are correct still. I still think it's still a disappointment because it's just bland Mario. It's Mario by the books. But it's an awesome game. Like, Mario by the books is awesome. It's just not as awesome as it could be. Like, not compared to Galaxy and Sunshine in 64.
It's very, very weird, isn't it? Like you say, it's very weird how it can be so bad, but it's only bad because it's so good.
Yeah, it just kind of...
That made sense.
When you have, like, the most successful franchise in all of gaming, it's really hard to just do everything that the fan wants. I call it it's like the Sonic problem, where they just can't seem to get it right. It's a big franchise, people love it, they just can't, they will never hit people's expectations, and if they do things one way, some people will like it, some people will hate it, and if they do it the other way, then the other people will hate it and the other people will love it. So yeah, Nintendo do a really good job with their franchises considering how big they are, but some arsehole like me is always going to complain at the same time.
Oh no, but I mean, I think the complaints are still fair because it is a similar game, isn't it? They should be doing something different, really. But maybe, have they said anything else about future games?
No, not really. I mean, they recently had a Nintendo Direct where they talk about future games, and the big ones for Nintendo are going to be Super Smash Bros. 4 and Mario Kart 8, which both look amazing, I'll be honest, but I kind of do want the more obscure stuff from Nintendo.
It seems like... Has there been... I might be completely wrong here, but just from thinking back, it seems like this year for Nintendo it's all been sequels or, you know, remakes or something like that. Like when do they like do a brand new IP?
I think the biggest one might be Pikmin 1 of recent memory. But what they've been doing recently is just bringing back old franchises that everyone thought was like completely dead, but then they bring it back in, you know, to the current times. Like Kid Icarus, it was like there was one NES game called Kid Icarus where you just jumped around and you were some dumb angel, shot arrows and stuff. They made like a Game Boy spin-off as well, but that was back in the late 80s, early 90s. And then last year in 2012, they just made a brand new 3DS game about Kid Icarus and just brought the franchise back completely. So they've been doing more of that than actual new franchises. I think technically the new one would be Still Diver, which was the submarine game they made for the launch of the 3DS, but it's literally just a submarine game, and that's it. You just
fun.
So I guess Wii Sports as well, like, that would be the other ones. And Nintendogs, they did make Nintendogs on the DS, so they do new ones, they're just not iconic in the same way that, like, Mario and Zelda are.
Would you want them to do more?
I don't know. I mean, they did confirm that they're making a new one. Like, Miyamoto, the main guy behind Mario and Zelda, says, hey, I'm working on something new and completely different. But, I don't know, Nintendo are kind of in a tricky situation where one of their franchises is going to get left out in the cold, so I'm kind of happy that they give a lot of love to certain franchises rather than focusing on new ones. Which isn't to say I don't want to see new ones, it's just... You know what? They released 2 new Zelda games this year, and they were both amazing, so I can't really complain too much.
True. Yeah.
And Pikmin 3 as well, that was awesome.
So, you liked Mario, what about Zelda?
Zelda's really good. It's, do you know what this game is at all?
You can stick to walls.
Nice. You certainly can. Well, you kind of covered it there. I was going to go into some stuff.
Well, that's my review over. Nice. I hope you enjoyed.
10 out of 10. You can stick to walls.
Yep.
Well, no. What this game is that back on the SNES, Nintendo released A Link to the Past, which was the game that launched Zelda into being the big franchise that it is today. It was like the big one. It was awesome. But that was released years ago. So when Zelda made the jump to 3D... They kind of left 2D games behind, but of course Zelda's roots were in 2D. So this game is them kind of returning to the 2D format again, where the camera is up above Link, because the last few games have all been 3D, like Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess and all that. So it's awesome that they have returned to 2D Zelda again, because I have good memories of it. But what they did is that they pretty much like half remade the original game, where they took A Link to the Past, they took a lot of what made that game, made a new story in that world, and then created new dungeons for it, so it's like a semi-remake. And I think it's a really awesome idea, and playing through the game, yeah, I would say they pulled it off. One thing that kind of detracts me from the game, though, is that it doesn't quite feel... It doesn't have its own, like, personality. Like, this is just going to be, in the future, known as, oh, that game they made on the 3DS a bit like A Link to the Past. Like, A Link to the Past is, like, the classic Zelda game. And Ocarina of Time is like, whoa, that's amazing. And then Majora's Mask is that dark, weird sequel to Ocarina of Time. And then Wind Waker had Cartoon Link and did things really differently, you know? Like, each Zelda game has their own big personality that people will look back on. This one, I think, is just kind of going to be forgotten, and I can see why. It's just, a lot of it is based off A Link to the Past, and they do a lot of things right in this game. Like being able to pick what order you do the dungeons in, but I think that's the problem with a lot of new Nintendo games. They don't feel like instant classics, and maybe that's just because I'm older, and of course it's not going to affect me in the same way when I play a new game, but when I was younger, or a few years ago, when I played Twilight Princess, which was 2006, I felt like it was an instant classic. And there were a lot of... And Super Mario Galaxy, that was 2007. I played it and I was like, instant classic. And none of these new Nintendo games have that same quality. So, while both of these games are really good, like really good, it's just not... I don't think they're going to hold up over time.
Just going back to Zelda quickly. You saying about the whole 3D, 2D stuff. Where does Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks fit into that?
Well, I didn't play them because I thought they looked terrible. I think they are technically 2D ones, but because they utilize the DS and have a lot of like 3D stuff in them, and they are sequels to Wind Waker, that was a full 3D game. I think they do technically count as 2D Zelda games, but not in the same way. They don't have the same style as A Link to the Past, Oracle of Season and Ages, The Minish Cap, and Link's Awakening. So they're half and half. So I wouldn't say that's them keeping up with the 2D games. I would just say that's them being limited by the DS in terms of graphics.
Okay. All right.
But I've never played them, so...
Well, what you just saying about not feeling like an instant classic? Do you know why? Is it just because you were younger? Maybe?
I think that's part of it, but it's also because these games aren't as memorable. Like, when there's no distinct feel to a game, when it feels like other games, it's like you're not making memories there. It's not memorable, like, wow. Like, when I played 64 as a kid, I remember first entering Bowser's Castle and then doing the first level. Like, I have those clear memories. And then I remember playing Super Mario Sunshine, and when you first get the Flood, and when you're chasing after Bowser Jr., it's just, those are clear, distinct moments in that game. In A Link Between Worlds, I can't think of any moment that's going to resonate in the same way. And yeah, like you said, a lot of it is I was younger. But when I played Super Mario Galaxy, that was only 6 years ago, so I was still 16, so I wasn't a kid. I remember those moments of first being on that ship, that opening cutscene showing Bowser attacking the castle. I remember all those moments clearly because they were awesome, memorable moments. And then you play 3D World and it's like, well, the first level's pretty good, I guess. And there's just nothing that really... If you had, it's like if someone was like, oh, what's a really cool moment in that game? I wouldn't have an answer for you. I just wouldn't have one.
See, I think you're right, because also, similar sort of thing, I don't know if ever you felt the same, but even more modern would be Red Dead Redemption. When I was playing that game, it was like, yes, instant classic, especially when you first go into Mexico. Like, yes, I feel this.
Yeah, Red Dead, that's a good example. Like when you first ride your horse across the plains and or when you first see the sunset, like just those sort of moments, like that's like, wow.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty of games where you have that. Like I think a big one was Fallout 3 when you first leave the vault and you have the big open world. That's like probably the most iconic one this generation. And if you don't have those, then that's a major problem. Doesn't mean your game's bad, but in the future, when people are looking back on these games, they're just not gonna... If you don't have those moments, it's not the same.
Well, I'll tell you what, right, I haven't played 3D World, so I can't say, but I've watched some videos and stuff, so this is my impression. And this kind of goes back to what you were saying then. 3D World seems very arcadey. Right. And maybe what Nintendo need to do is be a bit more arty-farty. Like, and have these... be a bit more epic and be a bit more about storytelling or having... Like, be really epic or grand in scale. Maybe that will make some memorable things.
Well, they already did that with Galaxy.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. That's an awesome game right there. And
they do it again.
Yeah, well, they used to do it. They used to be really experimental and create these weird kind of games. Like Luigi's Mansion is not better than 3D World. 3D World is better than that game, but that game was so much more memorable. Like seeing Luigi just shaking all the time and just him going like Mario and all that, and then having the Hoover sucking up the ghost. That's like a experience that you're gonna remember and you're gonna look back fondly on, and you're gonna be like, wow, Luigi's Mansion, not the best game in the world, but I had a really good time with it. And then you just look at 3D World, and that experimental Nintendo is just gone. It's just completely gone.
How come? Well, I suppose I know the answer to this question, but I was going to say, how come Nintendo found a way to kind of get out of being blamed for having a lack of story? But I suppose the gameplay makes up for it.
Platformers don't need story, like in general. Like there are some, examples of where it does have story, like the Ratchet and Clank games. But then that's not just a platformer. There's a lot going on there, and it's just. I mean, the Zelda games have stories. They do have fully fleshed out stories with beginning and ends and different characters and all that. So it's only really the Mario games that don't have one. And I suppose they never had one, so that was never like a big thing about those games anyway. The Mario main series game that had the most story was Sunshine, and that's one of the most critically panned ones in the series. Not actually critically panned, but if you rank them all, most people would rank that quite low and would say Galaxy and 64 and World and Bros 3 is better. So I guess it's because Mario Bros is a platformer and Origins never had story, so it never really mattered.
Maybe story is the wrong word then. Maybe just like idea. Because you could say Galaxy had a good idea, like the whole in space sort of stuff. Maybe it just needs another good idea.
Well, yeah, that's what I want. Like, Sunshine was an experiment, but it had a specific theme. It was holiday, tropical resort. And, yeah, there wasn't that much variety in the locations, but they did a great job in making it a unique game overall. And now they've just gone in the opposite way. And part of this is because in a recent interview they did with one of the producers for 3D World, he was saying how in Galaxy he felt that was more targeted towards boys because it was set in space and was blue. Like a lot of blue, darker colours were used. So he kind of didn't really like that. And he wanted a game that everyone could pick up and play and was appealing to everyone to play rather than more towards boys. So I think that sort of thinking has led Nintendo to take this more generic route where because it has no personality or overall personality, it just has cool stuff in it, anyone can pick up and play it.
I suppose that makes sense. It's just not necessarily the best for us.
Yeah, it makes sense, but if you're going to make something that appeals to everyone, not that many people are going to love it or have any sort of real connection to it.
Yeah, it's either everyone thinks it's good or some people really love it. It's like it's either or. Yeah.
And that's what happened with Sunshine. A lot of people love that game, but at the same time, because it had a specific thing, some people don't like it. And I guess I know why Nintendo wouldn't want that to happen, but I think you kind of need to exclude some people to make some people love it, or get really into it.
Yeah, you can't, like you were saying about, what was it, about Sonic?
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to please everyone. So, or if you do, it's going to suck.
Yeah, you can please everyone, just there's going to be no extremes, and that means no love for the game in the same way that people love the games that they played when they were younger.
No love.
No.
Maybe down.
No love. No.
Oh.
Alright, so let's move on from games, because that's pretty much what I've been playing, and not much has been happening in the gaming world. So, Joe, I'm going to
I've been playing something.
Oh, here we go.
I've been playing something. Yeah, although it does kind of relate to films as well.
Oh.
I have to cross over a little bit.
Is it Brave, the video game?
No.
Oh, odd.
Get out of here. No, it was... I recently watched The Hobbit.
Oh, okay.
And I've never really been into Lord of the Rings and that kind of stuff. But that got me into it a bit. So I thought, now, whilst I'm in this kind of elf, dwarf, fantasy type mode... Midgets, yeah. Why not try Skyrim? And it was on sale on Steam.
Oh,
so I bought it and I've been playing Skyrim.
So what... so is this your first Bethesda game? That you're going all in with, anyway?
Bethesda... Yeah, I think so. I think I've tried some other games, but I haven't went all in.
Well, their games are the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games.
Yeah, see, I've only tried a bit of Fallout 3. I didn't get very far.
Okay, so this is you trying out the Elder Scrolls games for the very first time?
Pretty much, yeah.
And, so what are your thoughts?
Well, I have played it before, but not properly. Like, I knew the first dungeon you go in. I knew the first dragon fight, but it's still really good. It's not like blow me away amazing, but it's just solid. That's all I can really say about it, really.
Okay, so how many hours have you put into it, though? 200? 300?
At the moment, probably about 4.
Yes, that means I've put in more hours. Nice.
Probably about 4. I just fought the first dragon, and see, this is what I've realised. I was talking to a friend about this. This is a problem with gaming I have recently, is that I've been trying to find every nook and cranny of a game.
Oh.
Right? Like, I'd spend too long searching around and wanting to try and get everything there is, when really I should just be kind of getting on with it. So now I'm just getting on with it. I'm just doing it, getting things done.
Well, if you're that sort of person, have you ever played Borderlands?
No.
Because that kind of rewards that, where it's sort of an MMO kind of style, open world first person shooter, where if you're gonna check everywhere for money and guns and things like that. So that game is designed for you to take your time and search everywhere and seek everything out. I don't really like it, but most people do, so I would recommend it to you. Sounds like you might get into it.
Well, maybe, but I think I'm trying to step away from that sort of playing because I actually want to complete some games. So I just need to finish them. Yeah.
So you bought Skyrim?
Yes, great choice. And the pack had all of the DLC and crap as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You're going to be there for literally days.
Oh no, it wasn't a great choice. But it's nice just to get kind of load it up, complete a few little quests, and then I don't know, go eat, and then record a video or something. So it's all right. It's all right.
So when is the Skyrim Let's Play going to start?
Well, it's going to start sometime soon, and then go on for about 5 years.
Nice.
And then maybe we'll start with the old Dragonborn thing, whatever it was, expansion.
But I don't really like Skyrim. I don't want to bring us down, but I've already ranted about it. Yeah, oh, come on, it's true though. I've already done the rant, but
I vaguely remember the rant, but please remind me.
Well, in summary, it's like Skyrim is a PC game, or has that PC gaming philosophy where it's content over substance, where you don't really do much, you just piss about, walking to a map, something you marked on your map, just click a few times to slash, and then they're dead because you spent ages leveling up your guy and looking at your spells. So combat there's nothing to it apart from just slash, fireball, flyball, slash, and then you just walk to it, talk to someone, and then you just walk somewhere else. For the most part, you're just walking and just pissing around. You're not doing anything. But because there's so much to do and to see, there's so much that you can explore and see, that it's content over substance. You can spend so many hours in this mindlessly doing nothing, but there's some small overall kind of goal of seeing everything and doing everything, but what you're actually doing is bad. And also with Skyrim, we were talking about Nintendo games being generic. For some reason, fantasy games get away with just ripping off Lord of the Rings and adding nothing to it. And also Skyrim is half snow, half brown. It's not an interesting place to explore. So I won't go into it any more than that, but those are my general reasons why I don't think Skyrim's that good. I don't think it's bad, I just don't think it's good.
Well, I would agree with you that it is very much like Lord of the Rings, but that's why I picked it, so it worked in my favour.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I suppose. Yeah. I suppose... Thanks. Ruined it now.
Sorry.
I'm gonna load up and think, oh yeah, that mountain does look kind of like that mountain, and this dungeon does seem kind of familiar.
Yeah, you just don't do anything in it. I played it for 15 hours, and I didn't do anything. I just walked somewhere, killed a goblin, and then just walked somewhere else. I don't get it.
But do you like looting stuff and things like that?
Yeah. Usually.
Yeah.
What was it? Fallout 3 I really liked. That was one of my favourite games on the 360, but the reason for that is because it had a similar structure, but it had an interesting world to explore, so it had the same, you weren't really doing that much, but you weren't doing that much in a world where you're in America that's been nuked, and that's awesome. It's not generic Lord of the Rings fantasy.
Had you played Lord of the Rings type games before then? Had you played the previous Elder Scrolls? I
played a lot of Oblivion. I pretty much did everything in that game, or the main stuff, like the main quests. And then I put a lot of hours in Morrowind, which Morrowind was pretty cool at the time, because same thing, you didn't really do that much, but the world was surrounded in such a mystery, that there was this satisfaction to finding something new. With Skyrim, it's not. You have the whole map unlocked, and then you just put a location there, then you get there. You're not exploring, you're just going places, and there's not much to see. But with Morrowind, it was, if you went too far in one direction, you would find something kind of odd, or you would be killed, so you have to level up so you could explore the map. It felt more like a big quest, actually seeing everything the game had to do, rather than a just walk there and check it out thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think the whole map should just be unlocked straight away, because I think there should be a reason. Well, there is a reason to explore, I guess, but more of a reason.
There's a reason to explore, but there's no satisfaction in doing it. There's no like, oh, I found this now. It's just you go online, you see where the best sword is, and then you just go get it. And it's like, wait, this game's awesome.
Yeah.
10 out of 10, masterpiece.
So, are you saying like in that previous game that the map was like it was like fogged up until you got to that area, and then it showed you what was there?
Yes, I think so. I'm not sure if it was fogged up, but the map was really like, there was next to no detail in it, and you couldn't quick travel. The way you got about or quick traveled is that you would find these massive weird bug creatures that you could then pay to get to the other cities. But other than that, you just had to get on a road, see where it took you, and just hope for the best, and just whatever you saw was, you just checked it out.
Massive weird bug creatures?
Yeah, I don't know what they were. They were just these.
Are they in Skyrim?
Maybe. Because I
want to see massive weird bug creatures.
Well, there's a DLC with Skyrim that recreates a lot of the world of Morrowind, so they might be in there, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
But no, so yeah, Morrowind was cool, Skyrim, not so much. Oblivion was okay, but Oblivion was more, oh, the next generation, so now look how big this field is.
Nice empty field.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Okay. I suppose there are mods to make it more interesting, but yeah, I can't be bothered with all that.
No. I don't use mods. I find them completely pointless.
Yeah. So, well, the game should be good enough as it is, really.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, the best memories I have with games is that experience with a game and those memories. But with a mod, I'm not going to be like, it's not the same. I want a rounded, complete experience. I don't want messing around with texture packs on Skyrim. That just sounds really dull. And you're not really...
Yeah.
Some people, I guess, enjoy it, but I don't see what's enjoyable about just searching on forums and be like, you gotta check this out, I've put Wheatley from Portal in Skyrim, and then you download it and it doesn't work, so then you have to try it a ton of times, and then you get it to work and you're like, oh, yep, there he is. Cool.
Yeah. I've seen one where it replaces the dragon with Thomas the Tank Engine. Things like that.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's very odd. Yeah.
But those mods things, they're more like it's funny to kind of see someone do it than it is to actually do it yourself.
Oh yeah, screw setting all that up. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Yeah. So, I think we nailed gaming. I think we nailed that.
Films?
Yes.
Or is it TV?
Well, I'll let you decide. Do you want to start with TV or films?
Go with films.
Okay.
Go with films.
You did mention The Hobbit, so...
Yeah,
nice.
I did. Yeah.
Speaking of The Hobbit, that's a good segue right there.
Have you seen The Hobbit?
Yes, I did. I did go check it out. And I already know your opinion of it, because you've already talked about it. And in some ways I agree with you. Overall, I liked the film. I thought it looked amazing. Are you still there? Something just happened with Skype.
I'm still here.
Okay. Well, Skype just said my internet just died when it didn't. I don't know why Skype would do that.
Damn you, Skype.
It doesn't want me talking about The Hobbit for some reason. But no, so visually really great. It's a really good film, well acted, well directed, yada yada yada. The biggest problem I had with it is that it was a middle film, and it really felt like a middle film. Like it just continued on from the first Hobbit, and then it did a load of stuff, and now there's going to be the ending next year. It's just like... I find the ending hilarious. Like, when I came out of the cinema with my mate, I just kept doing the, what have I done? Or, what have we done? Just on everything. Because, no spoilers, but the way the film ends is that a load of stuff is going down, and then they just show something bad's about to happen. It cuts to Bilbo going, "What have we done?" Black. That's the end of the film. Like, no resolution, nothing. It's just some stuff was happening, stop, wait next year. And that was like the biggest problem for me with that film.
I was so glad it was over,
Oh,
to be honest.
no.
Not, I didn't hate the film, it was too long. I was like, please, end now. Please.
You
It just
obviously
dragged.
haven't watched the Lord of the Rings films.
No, I haven't. But the first film, it was like, yeah, this is a nice pace. This is a nice steady pace. Seems good. But like you say, I think it's just being the middle film. It's always going to feel dragged out because there's, you got the beginning bit where you introduce everything and it's fun and cool, and you got the ending where everything comes together, and the middle bit's like there's nothing really to kind of hinge it around.
No. Well,
so it drag out for me.
The confusing thing about it, though, is that Peter Jackson did a great job with The Two Towers being its own complete separate film. Like, that film ends with Helm's Deep, which is a massive, crazy battle. And then they, the battle is over, they win it, and then it's like, the film ends. So even though they still got more story to cover, and there's still a whole other film worth of story, there was an ending to it. There was a beginning with them. Can't remember what the area is called, a Rohan maybe, but that whole film is about Rohan and then Frodo doing what he's doing, and then it ends with a proper good ending. But this one didn't even try. Like, it didn't even try. They just cut it at some point. Like, obviously when Peter Jackson was editing, it was like, we'll just slice it here, and then we'll just continue on for the next film. And it was a bit like, you could have... Yeah, a film like that should stand on its own, and it just doesn't in any shape or form.
Well, and there were just parts of it that just didn't make sense. Just didn't seem right. Like, I don't know what it's like in the book. Have you read the book?
I did when I was younger, but I don't remember it.
Because the bit where... Oh, right, is this going to be spoilers now? Maybe spoilers.
Depends how major it is. I don't...
Okay, well, maybe warning. When they're at the mountain, and it's the last sunlight of whatever thing...
Sure.
And they're trying to find the keyhole, and then they don't find it, and they're just... The dwarves are like, alright, let's go home. It's like, really? Come on. You're just like, we can't find it, right, we're going to go now.
Yeah, that was a bit odd.
It just seemed like... That doesn't... They wouldn't do that, surely.
Yeah, that was weird, because they, instantly, right, well, we tried.
They just walked off.
They just instantly were like, oh, the sun's set. Well, I guess that's the end of that. Like, it doesn't take that long for the moon to come up when the sun is set, right? Like, surely they should have seen it.
Yeah. And there's like, oh, wait, it's back out. And they all just come back all of a sudden. Oh, no, we're still here.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but yeah, that was a bit strange.
And this is all being compared to the first. I really liked the first one. I thought it was great. But there are some other parts in the second one that I just didn't like. Like, the whole elf bit with Legolas and that made-up lady.
Yeah, made-up lady.
Or something. Whatever her name was. Any scene with them was just so boring. Any action scene, because it's like, here comes a choreographed fight scene where they just kill every single orc. There's no sort of tension or anything. It's just slash, 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 oh, they're all dead, end of scene. I mean, it looked kind of cool in some parts.
Well,
but it didn't...
Did you like the barrel scene down the river? Where they had all the stuff going on as they were slowly going down.
That was the scene that I didn't really like.
Oh.
The barrel scene. Didn't like it. Apart from when the really fat dwarf did this slow motion thing in the air, that was quite fun.
Yeah.
Did you notice in that barrel scene, there's these really awkwardly placed shots from like a handheld GoPro camera?
See, I was looking out for them because I watched your part of Feed the Beast where you mentioned it. So then I was like,
Yeah.
okay, there's going to be a river scene now, and there's going to be like a GoPro bit. And then when it happened, it was like, that was odd.
It was odd, wasn't it?
It doesn't. There's no other shots like that in the whole film. Like,
Yeah.
there's no first-person shots, and then just as they're going down the thing, they just cut to a first-person shot, which was weird.
And it just, yeah, that irks me. But it didn't ruin the whole film. It was just like a little, they shouldn't have really done that. If I was Peter Jackson, I wouldn't have let that through.
What made that weird is that in The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, all the shots are very precisely done. You know, getting the right angles and all that. I'm not saying other films aren't, but with these ones, just to get the shots of Middle-earth and, you know, just setting the scene and checking out the place, they're very precise shots. So to then cut to a shot where it's just a loose camera just is it's a completely different tone to every other shot in the thing, where it's all epic, swoop up, looking at all this stuff. And then even during that scene, it's like very precise shots on getting all the action in and making sure everything's correct. And then, yeah, it just cuts to bobbing up and down on a river. It's like Peter Jackson obviously puts a lot of time and thought into his shots, so to just throw those in was a bit odd.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that being said, I still enjoyed it. I think I will like the first and the last part a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Well, it might be a case that when the third one comes out, we look more favourably on that second one, because then it's one part of a complete story, rather than an open-ended, here was some scenes that happened, and then they're going to connect eventually, but not now.
What have we done?
What have we done? So it's the most cliched line they could have used. It was the best.
It was very cheesy. Yeah.
So good. Oh, so.
Oh, and also, just briefly, did you think that the molten gold at the end looked bad?
It did look a bit bad. It seems like, I don't know how they could have made it look better, but there was something about it, like there was no shadows on it or something like that. I don't know what it was, but it looked weird.
I mean, yeah, maybe that is what molten gold looks like. I don't know. But even if that is what it looks like, they should have realised it doesn't look good on screen.
No.
Maybe add some, like, texture to the I don't know, but yeah.
It was weird. But also, I saw it in the 48 frames per second.
Did you?
Which looked really good, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but with the original Hobbit film, it took like half an hour for me to get used to it. In this one, just like 5 minutes, and I was fine. I think it was just something about the way the opening shots of The Hobbit were, like with Smaug destroying that city, that made it really hard to get used to this new frame rate. Just cutting to these zoomed-in shots, then all the fire, and then the outside shots. It was just like a really bad way to start a film with a new frame rate. But with this one, it seemed to be a lot more forgiving on the person who hasn't seen it in 48 frames. Like, the beginning scene is them in a pub, and then you do have those really beautiful shots of the, you know, of the landscape. So it was a lot more forgiving in that way. So I'm really glad I saw it in 48 frames. With the first film, I was kind of a bit gutted that I did, because half an hour of the film I was like, this looks terrible. But with this one, if you're not too sure, go see the 48 frames. It does look really good.
I think I haven't seen either in 48 frames. It seems like something you can't really explain, because people have told me like about the 48 frames thing, and I still can't. I can't see why it looks bad. I think I just have to see it to kind of.
I mean,
realise it.
The main example people say is that it looks like a soap opera. To me, though, it looks like it's been slightly sped up. Like, it's been sped up and slowed down. And that's because... Well, I think the reason behind that is because you're seeing more. Like, rather than just seeing, like, someone waving their hand, you're seeing twice as many frames of that hand being moved. So you're seeing the more precise movement. So it's better in that regard, but then it's weird because your eye isn't used to seeing that much detail in movement. So it's like people move really weirdly, like they are moving too quick or too slow or something, but you know, you do get used to it, and it is kind of slightly better in the end.
I'm hoping that when the third one comes out, because I've missed my chance to see the first one in 48 frames, so I'm hoping when the last one comes out they maybe do like a maybe not back to back, but they show all three at some point.
Well, the cinemas now do back-to-backs all the time.
Yeah,
Like, when...
I suppose it just might be quite long.
It'll be long.
Yeah.
I'm sure when the new Star Wars comes out, they'll be doing the back-to-back of the older ones.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Well, for some of them.
Yeah, maybe not.
I'll just come in for the last 20 minutes of the fourth film, and then all of the fifth one, and then just leave.
Okay.
That's all I like.
Well, yeah, hopefully they do that so I can actually see it in a proper sort of IMAX place sort of thing.
Yeah, I would assume the IMAX would do it. They'll have the complete Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Right, so were there any other films you saw over Christmas that came out?
No.
Well, I did see one. I saw another one.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, well, I went to the cinema and paid money and sat down and watched a film and then left.
What was it?
I saw Frozen.
Oh.
Which, I didn't know that much about Frozen going into it, so for people who don't know what it is, it's the new Disney one. It's a 3D animated one, and it's pretty much their take on the Ice Queen and the Disney version of it, where it's based on the story, but they've changed it completely to make it more Disney friendly. Which, the way I described it, sounds like a bad thing, but it's really not. It's just, if you looked at the original Snow White story, you would say, yeah, the Disney one is a lot less brutal.
It's not Pixar, is it? It's just Disney.
Yeah, it's just Disney. It's the same studio that did Wreck-It Ralph and Tangled.
Okay.
Because I guess Disney have set up their own 3D animated studio who have been getting a lot better. With Wreck-It Ralph, people really liked that film. And I really liked Frozen. I thought it was really good. First of all, it's a really good looking film. I love snow and ice, so seeing that in a cinema and with this 3D animation looked gorgeous. And also, it's very similar to a Disney film. It felt like an old Disney film that I would watch when I was a kid, where just a similar sort of story, there's some songs in it and similar structure. But what made this film really good is that there were enough twists to the original Disney formula where it just made it interesting to watch and a lot more enjoyable. I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's just a few things in there where they don't jump to what you would expect them to jump to. Like, there's no major villain for most of this film, but it's not missed. It's more about the relationship of these two sisters, and it makes it a lot better. It's a bit like how in Lilo and Stitch there wasn't really a major villain. It was about the relationship of these two sisters, and then an alien shows up. It's kind of a similar thing. It's like two sisters, but one can summon ice and snow from her hands. It's a similar sort of thing. And yeah, they just did a really great job on making it. Still feels like a similar Disney film, but there's enough twists in there where it feels fresh, and I just really enjoyed it.
This is the film with the snowman character, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
See, that snowman seemed quite annoying to me.
Well,
maybe that's just the trailer.
I thought that too, but he's the comic relief, but he doesn't show up until at least halfway through. And even then, he has a really annoying song that he sings, but after that he's like used sparingly, or just the right amount, where he's in it to get some laughs and whatever, but he's not in your face. Like, he doesn't ruin any of the big moments or anything like that. He doesn't go on all the time. He's just there for a couple of jokes during certain scenes, and that's about it.
So it's not like Jar Jar Binks of the film.
No, he doesn't just jump up behind Qui-Gon and he's just You sound disappointed.
Good. Oh no, I was worried. Like, there for all the jokes and stuff. But that's all right then.
But like I said, when he first shows up, I was like, oh god, here we go. There we're going for quite a good story and characters, but now he just got this annoying snowman. And then he sung a song. I was like, oh god,
oh, no.
What is happening? But then after that, it's fine. It's really not I wouldn't say it's a flaw of the film.
Okay, good.
So it's definitely one worth watching, I would say, if you like that classic Disney films. But yeah, if you like those classic Disney films, watch this one.
Did you watch any So this is where TV and film crosses over. Did you watch any films on TV over Christmas?
Well, I know what you're going to say, and no, I haven't seen The Princess and the Frog.
Actually, I wasn't going to bring that up.
Damn it.
Because I figured you'd already know about that. So I didn't bother saying it again. I just want to know if you'd watched any.
No, actually, it was Watch Monsters University on DVD. That's a great film. But
I still haven't seen that.
That's really good. Like, rewatching that film again, I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
So no,
bad.
I haven't seen any, didn't watch any films on TV, I'm afraid.
Did you watch Doctor Who?
I did watch the Doctor Who.
Oh.
So before we begin about that, I will say I'm not a massive Doctor guy. I gave up during the David Tennant run, and I only saw one Matt Smith episode, and that was the one where there was Daleks in World War II, and it was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. So I gave up then, and after watching The Day of the Doctor, though, I was like, hey, that was pretty good. I liked that. I liked what they did with it. I thought that was pretty cool. So I checked out this new Christmas special, and I don't think I'm going to be watching the new series. You've complained a lot about this Stephen Moffat guy, and watching that episode, all your criticism just were glaring in that one. Just so
I want
apparent.
this man to leave. I want him to give up.
It's just kind of embarrassing, like, the pace of it. Like, I hadn't seen the season, so I knew there were some things I was going to miss. I had no idea why he was talking to a Cyberman head. I was like, you know what, it's probably
Neither did
fine.
I.
Really?
No one did. That was only for that episode.
That's... so... Is there no explanation for that?
No, he just randomly has a Cyberman head.
Well, that's stupid.
I know.
That's so weird. Oh god. Okay. Well, then screw that. Then that's awful.
It was bad. It was quite bad.
But it's.
I think.
Okay. My thing with that episode is that it seemed conceptually good. Like the idea they were going for, like the Doctor becoming this protector, and he thought he was dying, so he chooses to live the last life helping people in a very direct way. I really like that idea, but it's just rush through it. It was just an hour, but it was an hour where it just kept jumping, and I can't remember. There was just all these big jumps, and they just tried to fit so much in, and it just kind of crumbled. Like any emotion you would have felt about the Doctor and the Doctor dying just disappeared because it just suddenly jumped to it, and you were like, well, I don't really care.
I think in a Minecraft video I said it was decent enough. I think since then my opinion has changed. Now I think it was quite bad.
Yeah, it was pretty
I've
rough.
had time to reflect. Yeah. And a friend told me the other day something I hadn't realised about Doctor Who was back when it was David Tennant, they used to do like at least 2 episodes of a series would be 2-parters, so 4 episodes would be 2-parters, and that was great because with 2 episodes you had the time to tell a story. I mean, bearing in mind it was a different writer as well, but even then you had 2 episodes to flesh out a proper story and pace it well. But since this new guy and since Matt Smith, I don't think they've had many, if any, I can't think of any, 2-parters. I don't know why, he just doesn't like them, this Stephen Moffat guy. So that's why it always seems so damn rushed and paced wrong. Like the ending's always wrapped up in like 2 minutes at the end, and it just gets on my nerves. And this episode was no different.
Well, there was so much going on with this episode. Like, there was a whole war going in between all of the Doctor Who villains at one place. And it gets like a minute of screen time. They're like, and then the Cybermen fought the angels. And then they moved on. It's like, shouldn't that be a bigger of a deal? Why is there just some terrible, like, bang bang, move on? There should be something about that, not just mentioning it.
The season finale of, I think it was season 2 of the new ones with David Tennant, the 2 episodes were about the Daleks and the Cybermen fighting. The whole 2 episodes were about them having a war. And in this one it's like, oh no, a Dalek just got blown up by a Cyberman. End of that scene. Moving on.
Well, it's just, it's like why I say I think conceptually it's good. It's just like there was no weight to anything that happened, where there should have been like, oh my god, this is nuts. Like, it should have been a crazy over-the-top episode where it's going out with a bang. But instead they just rushed over the crazy stuff and then just didn't really go anywhere. And also I think some of the story stuff was just stupid as well. I can't remember. There was just some stuff in there that I just really thought was dumb. And they didn't really explain.
The naked thing?
The naked thing was a bit odd.
That was dumb. I didn't understand it.
I didn't hate it, but it was dumb. What else was in there? I'm trying to remember. There was just something I was like, well, they didn't explain that. That's stupid. The regeneration thing and the way that gets fixed is stupid.
Oh, something flies through a crack. Oh, it's the Time Lords or something.
Doesn't make any sense at all. Just doesn't make any sense. Like, and now he's a completely new Doctor with new...
Yeah. Now he has like 12 more regenerations.
Oh my god, that's so bad. That's
a massive thing like that. Oh yes, little thing that flies through a crack.
Oh.
Dumb.
And also, what's the name of his assistant?
Clara?
Yeah, Clara. I don't like her. She's
a bit pointless.
She's too perfect. Like, she's just too perfect. She's got no flaws. She's not quirky in any way. She's just like a perfect person to have around to do perfect stuff. So I was like, well, she's just pointless, like you said.
I just, by this point, I can't see how people can defend the show. Because it's so, like you say, they have good ideas. You can't blame them for that. They have good ideas, but they don't do it well, and it's just a shame. It makes me sad.
But it's like, I like Day of the Doctor, because that had a big, epic thing going on with it, but it spent an hour and a half going through it, so that kind of worked. And I think even this episode had more going on than that Day of the Doctor episode. Like, there was a lot going on there, but there was no war, and there was no the Doctor dying outright, or about to, and aging, and whatever, so it seems weird that this was only an hour long, where Day of the Doctor was an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think maybe they're trying to be too ambitious. I think maybe they're trying to get like even bigger in terms of scale every time, and it's like, well, you only have 45 minutes usually. I mean, this one was slightly longer, but usually they only have 45 minutes, so they've got to. I think they've got to scale it back down a bit, because some of the best episodes from previous seasons was really simple stuff a lot of the time, like the Angels one. It's basically just these angels and they're attacking these two people. There's no giant war or anything. It's very neat. I think they need to go back to that sort of stuff, really.
Yeah, it's almost become like comic book stuff, where you just have all these crazy villains and you just kind of throw it all in. But with comic books, it just goes to the extreme of stupidity and over-the-topness, like Superman destroying Mars or some whatever they do, but something like that. But with Doctor Who, it's like a British sci-fi thing, so they can't go to that. So instead, it's just stuck in the middle, where it's like, it's trying to do a lot, but that's not what the show is about, so now it's just a bit terrible.
I mean, you saying you're not going to tune in for the next series? I probably still will, just to see what Peter Capaldi's like.
Sure.
But I really wish that Stephen Moffat would hand over the reins to someone else. I really want to see it with a different lead, just to see how the tone would change, because it's just begging for it now.
Yeah, he just wants to be writing films, it feels like.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think Day of the Doctor was a bit better, because it was a film length, and he was like, right, I'm going to write this film about the Doctor. But now with these specials, he just tries to write a film, but of course it's not long enough, and it just falls apart.
And the one thing I did like about the episode, there's a couple of bits, but the one thing I did like was the quick regeneration. I thought it was different to what they'd done before. You expected to be this long, drawn out, oh no, it's changing, the music's going to start, but now it was like, boom, it's a new guy. That's the one thing I did like.
It was pretty cool. I mean, that new guy looked insane.
I couldn't understand a word he said.
Yeah, he just had that accent, he just had that manic look. Yeah. And then the episode ended, so my impression of the new Doctor isn't that good, because it's just... I mean, there's only so much they could do with that short time, but still, it's like, oh, that guy's insane. I'm good.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, oh, how do you fly this thing? Oh, he doesn't know how to fly. They're gonna crash. Oh,
Cue the music.
yeah, cue the music, and then they're gone.
That's it. But speaking of Stephen Moffat, over this time we've been away, I also watched Sherlock.
Did you?
Sherlock. Yeah, not yeah.
You sure did.
Sure did. Yep. Yeah, I caught up on that. Watched the first 2 seasons because it turns out there's only 2 seasons and they're made up of 3 episodes and they're like an hour and a half. And I have to say that's a bloody good show right there. I'm kind of sad I wasn't watching it earlier. Really kind of interesting idea with having Sherlock Holmes be this played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who's like amazing as him, and then just having him be like a weird psycho, just like not a likable guy really, like likable in some ways, but you know that likable flawed thing where he's a weirdo. And the first episode they just called him a psycho and just paint him in such a poor light. It's like awesome. Like, because he knows all the answers, and everyone hates him for it because of the way he holds himself. And Martin Freeman is great as Watson, and I mean, the thing about this show is that I don't know that much about Sherlock Holmes in general, so when I watch it, I'm not thinking, oh, that's interesting, they did that in that way. I'm just watching it as like a drama, mystery, detective thing. So I'm not going to have any of the complaints that other people do, but it's still a really solid show, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I think I'm the same because I know that they do. Like, the stories are loosely based on old books or old episodes from previous versions of Sherlock. But because I haven't read any of the books or stuff like that, I don't understand where they're referencing it from. So I can just, like you, I just like it on a drama kind of version. But I don't actually know if I've seen all the episodes yet.
Oh, there's only 6.
I think I may have, but the problem is I didn't watch them all one after the other. It was kind of here and there. So, but I think I liked it.
Good.
Yeah.
No,
that's about it, really.
No, it's a really good show. The one problem I do have though is, well, I really like the format. I like that it's an hour and a half and it's one kind of complete story, and I do like that format. But Stephen Moffat, the episode he wrote, I think he's written like 2, maybe 3. The episode he wrote, the first one of season 2, was like the worst episode of them all.
Oh yeah, wait, what was that? Something about like Chinese villains or something?
No, this was the Dominatrix one.
Oh.
Like, the Chinese one was silly, but I still liked it. You know, it was a bit kind of racist, but it was still like, it was still good.
So what was the Dominatrix? I can't remember now.
It's the one where it's, he has to solve that mystery about the guy just dying in a field, and then they have to go get those pictures from that Dominatrix on her phone.
Oh. Wasn't that supposed to be like one of the best ones, people say?
I did not like it.
Oh no, it was the second one of the second series.
What, the Hounds of...
Yeah,
that was a good episode. But that other one with the Dominatrix is just bad. I just didn't like it. It starts off all well and good, but then they just have this whole thing with Sherlock falling for her. And then it just has this really dumb ending. Like, I don't really want to spoil it for anyone, but it's so dumb. And it's just like, ugh. Like, they paint Sherlock as, like I said...
Oh! I think I know the ending.
Yeah, with the sword.
Yeah, and then, alright, I know.
Oh,
okay.
God! Why? No, he didn't just jump on a plane and do that. That's so stupid. It's just... They needed to keep that out of it. Like, they just had this woman's like, she's a dominatrix and whatever. Then, it was just a really weird love story in the end. It went from being like a cool detective show to this twisted, not very interesting love story. And it's like they painted Sherlock as being this psycho, crazy guy. And then they just have him fall in love in one episode. I mean, I think they did it in the best way they could have done, considering the character, but it was still bad. It's just a bad idea, and they should have just left it as the mystery and just taken that element out of it, because it just made for like a pointless, weird episode. Well, apart from that, all the other episodes are really good. It's just that one was a weird misdirection, especially because it solved like the cliffhanger from the first episode or the first season. It ends on a really big cliffhanger, and then they just kind of skim over it for that episode just to get into this dumb love story, and it's like, ugh, they messed up.
I vaguely remember when I was watching that episode that I kept thinking it was going to end, but it kept on going.
Yeah, it just...
Like, there's numerous points where you think, oh, all right, well, that's it, it's all wrapped up. Oh, no.
Yeah,
Something
just
else.
more nonsense just coming in. Just, oh.
Are you looking forward to New Year's Day?
I certainly am.
With mustached Watson? Yes.
Nice.
I'm so happy about that. I mean, it's just... That is perfect now. Perfect.
Is it grey, like his hair?
I think so. Sort of grey, tinge of blonde still, I think.
Okay.
Maybe. I can't remember.
Well, that should be really good. I mean, I don't know how they're going to pull it off. Like, what happens at the end of Season 2, like, okay, they really... Yeah, that's kind of a little nuts. It's actually quite a horrible scene at the end that you see. It's quite graphic, especially considering the show. But I still really liked it. I mean, I didn't like that last scene at the end, because it seems like, oh wow, they really went all out doing this. And then they just cut to the last shot, and it's like, oh, they didn't actually do it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, in the trailer, the voiceover, which is Watson, says something like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but he asks a question, he says, I don't want to know how you did it, I want to know why. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, I want to know how. I want to know how he did that.
Yeah, we know why.
We know why.
Yeah, they explained it.
Yeah, I want to know how he did that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got to have something to do with Watson banging his head, because otherwise, what was the point in that? But I don't really know. It was a bit... I guess the whole point in that is that it's not, oh, they took it back. It's, now think about how they did it. It's more the intrigue of how did he actually do it, rather than the big shocking moment. Which, when I kind of thought about it that way, when looking on the internet after watching it, I was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, considering the show and, you know, the way it's done. But still, I would have liked it if they just left it. Like, that would have been like, oh my god, what are they... Jesus.
Yeah. Because then... It would have... It kind of reminds me a bit of Family Guy. Do you know they killed off Brian?
Oh, yeah.
Who they've now brought back.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like if they killed off Brian for good.
Yeah, if they actually went all in, like, committed.
It'd be the same effect, yeah. So they should have done that.
God.
Yeah, I agree.
I watched that episode of Family Guy where they bring him back.
I thought it wasn't... Oh, yeah, Christmas. That's when they said they'd do it. It has been Christmas.
We've done it.
Yeah. Was it good?
It was awful.
It was awful.
So they had those 3 episodes. They had him dying. Then they had a middle episode that was horrendous, like so bad. And then they had the Christmas episode where he comes back. And it's just like... I said on this podcast, I don't think they're going to do it. And that was me giving them credit. Because now that they have brought him back, the show now is creatively bankrupt, like even more so than The Simpsons, which I watched the new Christmas episode, was one of the worst Christmas episodes I've ever seen. Just so bad, just pointless. It just was like, this is The Simpsons at Christmas. And then that was it.
Is it where they open their house to let other people live there?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but I heard
there's no story to it. It's them at Christmas, so then some people stay at that house, and then they don't anymore, and that's the end of the episode. God, that episode was terrible. But at least The Simpsons didn't fake people out. Family Guy was like, we're going to do this big, bold decision. Oh, no, we're not, actually. Like, after 2 weeks. It's like, Family Guy is just, so bad. Creatively, so terrible.
They managed to last a massive 1 episode. Wow. That's kind of sad, isn't it?
Yeah, like, they obviously plan to never actually go through with it. And the reason why it's creatively bad is because it means that episode where Brian dies, completely pointless episode. Just all that emotion they were going for, I respected them more when they were trying to be dramatic. You know, like they were trying to have this big drama behind it and be like a more emotional show. But the fact that they then took it back means that episode means nothing. Like, all that effort they put into trying to be serious and have people care about the character means nothing, because it led to nowhere and was just is now just a waste of 20 minutes and a waste of animation. It's awful. It's so bad. It's kind of unbelievable they would do this and expect people to still respect the show in any way. The Simpsons spent years making people respect animated shows, and then Family Guy just comes along and destroys all that. I mean, The Simpsons already destroyed some of it themselves, but Family Guy is just the last nail in the coffin, and just animation. Don't worry about it. They can do whatever. None of it matters. Don't take it seriously.
I mean, if they're doing this, I do wonder how long they're going to bother doing Family Guy for.
Oh, for a while.
Well, I guess it still makes money.
Yeah, animation is still pretty cheap, especially with computers, so they can just keep going, and then syndication stuff as well. People love animated shows. There's just something about them that you can just set them, like, because I guess kids can watch it as well, so it'll keep going for a while.
Well done, Seth.
Yeah, because I think Seth MacFarlane, he's just a boob. That guy, it's just useless. He's just got.
To be honest, I don't think he actually does much in terms of. I mean, does he still write the episodes?
He never really wrote the episodes.
Oh, or like, you know, produce them, I suppose. Then.
Well, he does the voice of Peter, Stewie, and Brian.
Yeah.
So I would figure he's heavily involved in the actual show itself.
Maybe. It seems like ever since he started doing films and stuff, I'd imagine his interest is now split. So maybe that's
ever since
the show.
He started doing the Cleveland show or American Dad.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He's just all over the place, that guy. But he stinks, that guy. He's bad. He's always been like this. Like, he's just awful at what he does, because Family Guy got cancelled twice. Like, outright cancelled. Just, Fox was like, you know what, your show's not doing well, it's not very good, you're done. And then they came back, and then it was the same deal. Season 3 wasn't that great. So Fox were like, right, you're done. And then DVD sales started picking up. So Seth MacFarlane was like, right, I can't have this show get cancelled again. I'm really lucky getting this third chance, technically. Really lucky getting this. I can't have this happen. So he wrote the very first episode of season 4, where they came back on, and he went all out. He was like, right, I'm going to have a fast-paced, over-the-top show. We're going to keep having jokes. We're going to be sillier. We're going to be more over the top, as I said. And we're going to go in that direction. And that's the direction that made them successful. Just being over the top and stupid, and just cramming in jokes, and just have it be an instantly easier to like show. Where before it was trying to be that. It was trying to be like the Flintstones and the Simpsons, but more pop culture and more trying to have its own style, but it was ultimately based off the Flintstones and Simpsons. And then he just sold out. It was like, nope, let's just make it joke fest. Let's just joke. And of course people were stupid and ate it up, and now it's a massively successful show. So he's always been like this, so I shouldn't have been surprised. I just gave him the benefit of the doubt, and he sucks. He's awful.
See, I think he at some point anyway, he seemed like a cool guy, especially because he does all them. I saw him on some BBC Proms thing, and he was doing singing all these classic Rat Pack songs.
Right.
And he seemed like a cool guy. Like, I know he likes all the sort of swing sort of stuff, and you know, I watched a few interviews with him as well, and he seems like a down to earth person. But then I don't know, maybe he treats his work differently.
I don't know. I just don't like him. Like, I also don't like how he puts his own political views, or allows for the staff's political views to be shoved into the show so blatantly and just in your face. Like, they have a song about how great weed is, and they don't have an episode about the issue. They have an episode about how great weed is, and that's the episode. It's not looking at both sides. It's not like, because you can have a show that's kind of leaning more one way. You just got to be fair and show the other way as well. Like The Simpsons and Futurama did a great job, or you know, whenever they tackle a big issue, they do a really great job. Like one of the more recent Futuramas have the whole evolution thing, and they do it in a really cool Futurama way, but at the same time they show both sides in their own kind of unique way. Family Guy is just, yep, weed's awesome, and it's just, this is the way it is, and they just, it's kind of sickening that a show could be so biased and try to tackle major issues at the same time.
Yeah, especially when it's such a big show and it has such a big audience, and it has an impact on people as well. So you think they'd be a little bit more, unbiased.
Well, it's just it's a big show. I don't know. I don't care.
Especially for younger kids as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not technically being made for younger kids. It's just younger kids, of course, get a hold of it. But it's just, it's just a terrible show, and it's always been bad. But at some point, they kind of found this weird rhythm where it was enjoyable noise, But when you actually take a step back, now that it's not funny, you kind of realize all the major flaws with it, where it rips off other shows, it forces its opinion on people, it just dances, plots don't really make that much sense and just goes all over the place. It tries to be dramatic and fails at every turn. It's just like, when you break down Family Guy, it's terrible. It's really, really bad. But they found some sort of way to keep it going, and people like it, so here we all are.
People suck.
That's right. Oh.
There we go.
Yeah. It's like, oh, God, whatever. I think we should end off the podcast, I say. That's what I say. We can all go...
End it on people suck.
Yeah,
Yes.
in general. I think we always come to that conclusion, but...
It's difficult not to in this day and age,
Well, it's more impressive with this podcast, because this was the Christmas podcast. So, the fact that we still came to that conclusion, I think that's, proves just how miserable we really are.
I'm sorry, everyone who listens to this. I'm sorry.
I hope you
We're
had a
just
good
giving you the
Christmas.
hard truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah.
Good tidings.
And all that jazz.
Yeah, whatever. Alright, well, any last words before we end off?
I'm going to London for New Year's again,
Ooh.
and I reckon it's going to be very busy, and yeah.
Nice.
And, well, I did say last year that I'd never do that again. There's like a go and see the fireworks in London, that's a one-shot thing, you do it and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing it again. So I don't know what happened there.
Did you have a say in the matter?
Yeah, I think I said yes to it, so I don't know what to
Okay,
blame.
well, you have no excuses.
I have no one to blame.
I'll just be getting pissed, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
try and get that done.
Going
as
to
well.
the pub, shouting at people about Family Guy. You know it sucks, right? Just during the countdown. It's just... Why would they bring him back? It's just like, whatever.
You're just sitting in the corner.
They've all left me.
Oh, it's this guy again.
Oh, every week, or every New Year's with this guy.
Always about Family Guy. Come on.
He comes in here with his black fawn every year.
Well, you're right. We are very depressing. I'm sorry, everyone.
So I was coming back around with the black fawn, so we'll end it off, I say.
Okay then.
So thank you for joining me, Mr. McLuckable.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week.
Bye bye.